Bitcoin has surpassed $100,000 per coin for the first time in the history of Planet Girth, as new retail participants joining the space are anticipated to begin accelerating rapidly. The altcoins have just signaled phase 2 of the market cycle is underway. And it's not going to be big, it's going to be huge. So if you're new here, hit that like and subscribe for daily cryptocurrency videos as we jump into Bitcoin being above $100,000 for the first time in history. And what if I told you this whole thing is just getting started? You might be asking yourself, is this guy full of baloney? Does he sleep with a stuffed animal? Is he a baby? Well, the answer to all of those questions is no, yes, and no. So let's actually jump into the price of Bitcoin right now. We see, as we talked about yesterday, Bitcoin broke out of this triangle all the way up to slightly above, right at about, I believe, about 104,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, shocking a lot of people. And we also noticed that the altcoins, let's just say they're looking pretty good, they're looking pretty strong, and a lot of money is going to start flooding into this space. People are going to look at the price of a Bitcoin at $100,000 and think, wow, that's pretty big, especially new retail people, which are slowly actually now starting to come in. We're seeing these metrics. We're seeing exactly as predicted, exactly as expected. It's kind of crazy how repetitive the 4-year cycles are and how perfectly timed everything has been exactly as we've been anticipating it. Go back 6 months. The amount of fear and doubt and the amount of people in my comments telling me there's no way Bitcoin's going to go up to 100K ever, let alone in 2024. People saying, hey, this is all a trap. It's all a bear trap. The entirety of this range down here, when Bitcoin was trading for 8 months between March and October here, the amount of people that I heard telling me there's no way there's no way it's that easy. And guys, fast forward to where we are. It was that easy. Now, altcoins are a huge topic that I want to jump into because with Bitcoin breaking 100K, a lot of new people are joining. And a lot of them are going to be looking at altcoins specifically. We're already seeing that. And in fact, I think a lot of people are surprised at which altcoins people have been looking at. The people so far that have rotated and kind of slowly re-entered crypto after ignoring it for the past 2 to 3 years, the altcoins that we've seen pump majorly over the last 1 to 2 weeks are some of the top altcoins. XRP, Cardano. Now Ethereum is actually finally starting to pump. Solana. So a lot of these huge market cap coins, like top 10 market cap coins, are pumping. Now, is that some sort of unexpected thing? Or is it quite literally the same thing we always see? It's almost too easy. So let's actually take a look at some things with Bitcoin first, and then I want to jump into altcoins. But Dennis Porter highlighting here, next week there will be a huge announcement that will fundamentally shift the dialogue around Bitcoin. No one is ready for what's coming. One of the largest economies in the world is poised to win with Bitcoin. 2 huge mainstream outlets already agreed to start covering it. So within the next week, we've already seen huge announcements. We've already seen huge adoption. And is it possible that Saylor knows something? As he's hitting the ATM like a degenerate, basically, if there's anybody that knows if maybe Microsoft or some of these other billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies are going to start allocating and putting Bitcoin on their balance sheets, Saylor's a pretty good option for somebody who might know some of that stuff. Now, also, the Bitcoin rainbow chart. Basically, do you feel anything yet? If you've been in crypto for an entire cycle, your brain is probably a little broken. I mean, mine personally is. I'm at all-time highs in my portfolio. I've never had as much money on paper as I do right now. I've never had a portfolio as big as it is right now. And I'll be honest, what emotions am I feeling right now? I'm honestly pretty numb. I'm stoked. I feel good. I don't know. It's weird. I almost don't feel anything. I feel like my neurons, like my actual receptors, like my dopamine receptors, I feel like they're broken. And I know it's not true. I know sometimes I feel excitement with my portfolio and stuff, but in general, especially watching so many people make so much money over the last 8 years, I don't know. My brain is a little broken, and your emotions will come back, I believe. But one of the reasons I don't think we're feeling things necessarily yet is because of a chart like this, where according to Eric Wall on X, we'll start feeling things once we get up in the yellow, maybe even the orange range. And where is that? Well, that's closer to $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 per Bitcoin. The Bitcoin rainbow chart has honestly been one of the most accurate long-term charts there is, which is kind of ironic, right? It's a silly, like it's a My Little Pony like rainbow chart. It's kind of dumb, but it's actually like pretty accurate. And as well, we see that Bitcoin enters its final phase of the bull market according to North Star. This like 3-year long cup and handle pattern myself and millions of people have been watching for the past couple of years is on the verge of actually breaking out. That's the craziest part about this, is that you see that this gigantic cup and handle, this being the cup, this being the handle, the breakout is like quite literally just getting started. So, I mean, again, nobody's bullish enough in my opinion. And a really interesting topic that I think is really important to talk about is that Emperor BTC highlights this. After Bitcoin tops, it doesn't matter where it's at, whether it's at 120,000, 100,000, 250,000. He's saying it will repeat its cycle of dumping by about 50 to 70% again. And he's asking the question, does this make you angry, or do you think it's impossible that we dump again? And I have my opinion on this. I think that until we're proven otherwise, we should expect that the cycles will dump as they always have. Meaning, as I have talked about this chart a million times, within the next 250 to 300 days, I think Bitcoin, the likeliest scenario is that Bitcoin enters a bear market for 2 years. So maybe beginning in the summer or fall of 2025, Bitcoin and the crypto market tops out and we enter a 2-year bear market. That is what history has always done. So in that sense, that should be like the default, that should be your expectation pretty much. But, with everyone expecting that and with institutions coming in, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I'm just saying we do have to be open to the possibility that maybe it won't. Or maybe it'll only dump 20 or 30%. Again, my base case and what I think people should expect is what we have always seen, meaning a bigger dump. But all I'm saying is, what is your opinion when you hear this? Does it make you angry? Or do you just think there's no way we actually dump 70%? Now nations are invested in the Bitcoin spot ETFs and this and that. Again, I still personally believe, yes, we will get a bear market for 2 years. But I'm curious what your opinion is. And currently I'm up about $16,000 on some small trades. So if you're interested in joining, you can sign up with Femex below or BITUNIX as well if you would like a no KYC option. And as well, one thing huge that I want to talk about here is that, for example, this post right here, Jane Addams saying basically, don't buy Bitcoin. It's exploded to 100,000 and experts are screaming for you to jump in. Be smarter. The market always corrects. This person, first of all, this advice here is kind of blowing my mind. Wait for Bitcoin to drop to $60,000 or lower before even thinking about investing. Where does that number come from? First of all, who even is this person? Jane Addams? I've never heard of her before. I'm pretty aware of most people in crypto and Bitcoin on X, but where's that person getting that number from? Let's take a look here. First of all, the amount of people that have told me over the past year to wait, and Bitcoin's going to dump and wait for this to get in, all of them have been wrong. But let's take a look here. So basically, she's saying that wait for Bitcoin to do this or lower and buy somewhere in here before getting in. Okay, well, I mean, that's straight up delusional. Could we get a dump? Absolutely. But if you're telling somebody don't invest at all until we at least do this, what even is that? That's a percentage-wise, that's about a... So she's saying don't buy in until we drop over 40%? Okay. Interesting. I mean, man, some of the advice people give, man, I don't even know. I don't have a response really to that. But so also, let's take a look at altcoins. So the altcoin year index, we are just now signaling that altcoin season has started, and we're at the very beginning of this. So I think a lot of money is going to flow into alts. We've already seen... for example, this chart, the altcoin market cap, or the entire altcoin chart, the total 2 chart, is now within, let's see, at its height, it got within about 4 to 5% of new all-time highs. When we get up to those new all-time highs, just like with Bitcoin, I think we're going to start getting explosive. I think altcoins are going to start performing really well. So that's coming up. We see alt season again, just beginning. The downtrend has been broken after 2 years. In 2016 and 2020, this led to incredible pumps for altcoins. This chart that he shows here might look weird. It's because it's inverted. Basically, what this illustrates is the higher this goes, the higher the altcoin market goes. So again, I think we're on the verge of an alt season. I think there's so much evidence for that. Now, this is a cheat sheet, very, very obvious. I think the best way to get altcoins to go up basically is if Bitcoin dominance remains stable and the price is up, or Bitcoin dominance starts going down, but Bitcoin is still relatively up. Or basically the other way, the final way that altcoins pump is if Bitcoin dominance starts going down, but the price remains stable. So take a screenshot or pause right here if you just want to like look at this cheat sheet. It's pretty reliable in terms of when you should expect altcoins to actually start adding valuation, because it is a pretty repetitive, time-tested, historically accurate way that money flows in this space. Just like this chart that I showed. You know, this is pretty spot on. We start with Bitcoin. Then there's like an intermediate phase. Then it goes to Ethereum, intermediate phase with large caps. And I think we're truly actually starting, the craziest part is I think we're actually starting phase 2 now. Even though we've seen large caps move, guys, if this is your first cycle, real alt season, I think is going to blow you away. People don't understand. And the thing with altcoin season is it doesn't last very long, but it's explosive, meaning like every day you should be waking up and a new altcoin is up like 10, 20, 30, 40% or something. Sometimes not even every day. Sometimes it's multiple times in a day. The money will just flood into a certain coin and pump it to market capitalizations you didn't even think were possible. And again, it doesn't last forever. So you have to take advantage of it when it happens. But we also see that the total altcoin market cap has swept the previous cycle highs, just like it did in 2021, and then went on to double in value 3 times over, according to Gel on X, send it higher. So if we look at the USDT dominance chart, again, we've set a new low. This is the lowest that we've been on USDT dominance since back in March of 2022. Okay, so nearly 2 years. This has never happened before. As I've pointed out, this is the longest we've ever gone. The longest we've ever gone without setting a new high for USDT dominance. It's been like 2 years. Actually, it's been over 2 years. We're at the lows from over 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago. Bitcoin dominance as well, starting to break down. Again, keep in mind where before the last bull market, dominance topped out at 73%. And before that, it was at 97%. This one looks to be topping out, if we topped out here, around 60, 61%. Meaning every cycle that goes by, Bitcoin dominance tops at a lower level, a lower high. Okay, this data goes back for like the last 8 years. So again, I think, especially combined with this chart, I think this might be the craziest altcoin season we've ever seen. This is the total 2 chart as well. Again, in the middle of a breakout, very big. Bitcoin as well, after this breakout, one thing I've been mentioning is basically as long as Bitcoin stays in this range, which is about $90,000 and above, then I think altcoins are going to continue to do well. And Bitcoin as well just looks very good. It looks strong. Higher highs, higher lows. So far, this structure is still perfectly bullish. There is not any indication yet that Bitcoin is having a correction. We could have a correction at any point, but there's no evidence of it yet. The stock market as well set a new all-time high today. Currently, it's down a little bit. However, look at this. The entire Bitcoin chart on the weekly, still everything looking strong in terms of momentum. Daily chart as well, even actually started to curve back over after a couple of days of again, when we're in a bull market, sometimes things are just a little more bullish than you'd expect. Every time it kind of looks like Bitcoin might roll over and might initiate a dump, in a bull market, sometimes that just doesn't happen. And maybe we'll cool off for a week or two or trade sideways and maybe a little lower, but we just grind upwards. And if you want any evidence of that, just look at any Bitcoin chart that goes back years and years. This is the stage of the cycle we're in right now. We are in the most explosive Bitcoin part of the cycle, the up-only part. Okay, this was the first phase of the last bull market. This was the second phase. So first phase, second phase. This was the first phase of our current cycle. We are now entering the second phase. And as I pointed out, I personally think after the second phase, we will enter a 2-year bear market. That's the default scenario. There's always the chance that we don't and things change. But we need evidence of that, and it's honestly a little too absurd to predict that guaranteed yet. I do think it's a possibility that we maybe don't enter a bear market, but we need to, I still think that the default or base case, you should probably expect we do what we've always done and enter a 2-year bear market. And get signed up with Femex or BITUNIX below if you'd like to trade or buy altcoins. Without any further ado, that's it for me.